This is the T-Post. Fast horses, real life, and oversharing like it's our job. That's Jesse.
And that's Peyton. Grab a drink and maybe a helmet. It's gonna get bumpy. All right, so we are on, this is going to be episode 7. Woo, woo, lucky number 7.
Is it?
I think so. I think so. So today we are talking about, I don't even know what we're talking about.
We're talking about human fitness.
Ah, yes, I did know that. I'm just dumb.
No, it's just how you're supposed to remember. We did a lot of yipping.
Yeah. Peyton keeps us on track, and I take us off the dusty trails.
Woo!
So we are now going to be starting each of our episodes, or trying to, with like a Bible verse and going from there. And I thought, you know what? Mark 10:27. That's not a bad one to look into.
I can even quote it for you. I got it right in front of my eyeballs. All 4 of them. I'm getting sleepy. We get silly when we get sleepy.
We get silly.
All right, Mark 10:27. Jesus looked at them and said, "With man this is impossible, but not with God. All things are possible with God." Yeah.
The Bluetooth is so strong right now. The connection.
It's embarrassing.
It's like a braided cord.
Oh.
But I'm going to talk about my experience with this Bible verse.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a reason why it's on my shirt with my business on the back. That J. Equine leather. And so I started a thing where I would put Bible.
It's over there. It's okay.
Okay. Okay. Acorns. Watch out. Anyways. I started doing Bible verses on the shirts. And to me, it was kind of like I would feel drawn to a Bible verse at the beginning or end of a year, and that was kind of the verse I would kind of just cling to that year. And this was mine for my quarter life crisis year.
Oh, really?
When I left my ex, found the love of my life got crazy, and I just started the starting over process. And there was a lot of times, it's so funny because I didn't know this was all going to happen when I ordered these shirts, when I kind of decided this was the verse I was clinging to. And it's so funny because I had told someone, I don't know what's going to happen this year, but I just feel like it's going to be really crazy. And I have so much peace. And it was crazy.
And then the peace was dwindling a little bit.
I don't know. I had a lot of peace through that.
Oh, really?
Year. A crazy amount. It was, I think I got put into like a refiner's fire of like, he took me out of a situation and gave me a lot of peace through a lot of chaos that otherwise without him I would have not had peace. And then I feel like he took me into a refiner's fire of, now we got to burn all this shiz off that you have gained through being in these toxic and unhealthy situations and thought patterns and all these different things. And I've been in that.
Yeah. So
that's where my frustration got, because I'd be like, okay, I understood the refining thing at first, and then after that I was like, are we done yet? And you're never done. But it was definitely like an intense period of it, and I feel like I'm on the end of that intensity a little bit more, because he had to make sure it was clocking to me that he was standing on business.
I was not expecting that.
I said that so seriously.
I wasn't expecting it.
So serious. But I clung on to it, and it's so funny because I had ordered these shirts beforehand, and there were so many times that year that people were like, that's not going to happen. That's impossible. And I just would say, ooh, goosies are coming back. I would literally tell them, if it's God's will, it's not impossible. And he's going to make it happen. And that's that. And I'm standing on business. I'm standing on the Lord's word, because that is the business. And so that's what I'm going to say. And I used to joke Delulu for the Salulu, but it's Cholulu.
This is gonna be a hard listen.
They're gonna be like, have you ever seen like the videos of people are doing weird stuff and someone's like, I don't know what's wrong with you, but I like it.
Yes.
I hope that's your reaction.
It better be.
But truly, I joke about it. That's like Delulu for the Salulu. But to everyone else, being obedient to God and trusting Him and trusting that He's going to come through for you in what looks impossible and that He's going to make a way where there seems to be no way. Because man can't do it, but God can do it, and He will do it. And if it's His will, He's going to come through for you. You're going to look delusional. You're going to look dumb. People are going to tell you it's not going to happen. But guess what? God's going to be like, and it's going to happen when He wants it to happen. And then people are going to see, and maybe they'll see Him through you and your situation, and then you better glorify Him. Praise Him during, praise Him before, praise Him after.
Yep.
And let people know when it happens that it was God. And if they don't want to accept it, that's on them. But you never know when you're planting a seed.
Be prepared for people to like give you backlash.
Oh yes,
about
they're going to.
Your beliefs. Just expect it. It's going to happen.
They literally crucified Jesus.
Yeah. Yep.
For saying He was who He was. So expect it to happen to you because we are not Jesus. So we can expect to be hopefully not crucified. But
hopefully not. But
the criticism is very small in comparison. And also, I don't know if there's a Bible verse to this or not, but typically if you're doing something, if you're going in the right direction, you do end up with a lot of pushback and backlash or criticism.
I'm sure there is. I'm pretty sure there is.
But basically, God does come through. These aren't just feel-good words. They still happen. And there's a reason it's in the Bible. It's not to be like, oh, that's really sweet that happened to that person in that story. No, that's an example. That's an example. We don't even know all of the amazing things that God has done because we would never have the capacity to, but they do happen in your life. And if you give Him the option to do it, He loves to show off.
Yep.
He loves to. I actually had told Burrito Boy today that I had told him about my rent stuff. And I had told him like how it happened last month and this month. I don't know. I just felt like I was supposed to tell him. I said, I just think it's super cool how if you give God an opportunity to show up, He will do it. But you have to invite Him in because so this is going to tie into probably 5 million other Bible verses that I can't quote off the top of my head, but I know it's in there of like God isn't going to break into your house, but the devil will. The devil is going to break in. And also, that ties into something else to get into in a second, but just put a pin in that. But the devil will break in. God's going to knock. He's going to knock, and he's going to be a gentleman about it. Jesus is going to be there and be like, I want to help you, but I'm not going to force myself on you. But let me help you. So let Him in, invite Him in every moment, invite Him in for every situation, and He is never going to steer you wrong. There are going to be times where maybe you didn't hear Him right, and that's okay, but it's a learning process of learning what you're hearing and feeling and like letting Him guide you, and it's just a learning process. And I'm not going to lie, it is frustrating sometimes. I never get frustrated with God, but for myself of like, he did say this, but I took it out of context, or I took it a different way, and then I end up with disappointment, but in myself.
Or maybe it is the right thing,
but wrong time. Or
you're struggling with it more than you expected to.
Yeah.
But it's just all a part of the process.
Yeah.
So
it's just like, I guess, expect emotions, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Because just because it sounds good that like all these dots kind of connect and all these things, it still can sometimes feel icky. And that's okay for it to like feel crummy sometimes. But it's just part of it. And just know that it just, sometimes you're just going to feel a little not happy about things. And that's okay. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't try. But it also means you can just take a moment too and just feel those feelings, and it just is, and it gets better, and it really does get better, and it's just part of the process.
It's just a season. It goes back to that their seasonal depression.
God, that clapped to me. I know I keep saying that, but for real. And I'm getting chills again talking about that. When you said that, I didn't understand what you were saying at first. I had like I think the audio processing delay or whatever for a second, where like I heard you, but I didn't process it.
Yeah.
All of a sudden I was like, whoa. Seasonal depression.
Yeah.
Yeah, not just winter.
Nope.
Could just be the season that you're in. And depression really sucks, but I'm going to say something that might be a hot take.
Go for it.
Through what you've probably seen me at some pretty low lows.
Mm-hmm.
Not quite my lowest lows. I think I've maybe talked about them.
Yeah.
I hid that from a lot of people.
Yeah.
Whoopsies. And I think that's common.
Oh, yeah.
This might be a hot take. I think sometimes depression is good.
Ooh.
Because through being depressed, I got a lot of clarity.
Mm-hmm.
Not in the moment, and it sucks.
Yeah.
But it sucks, and it also gave me appreciation for when things are going great. Like, I feel like when the smallest thing happens to me now, not that I was ungrateful before, but I just appreciate not being in that season.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that there is a purpose for it, as much as it sucks. And I don't think maybe that's said, but I really think there's a lot of things I wouldn't have learned when I was in my seasonal depression.
Yeah.
That I just wouldn't have learned.
Yeah.
And maybe not everyone needs to go through that because they actually listen to God before he backhands them. Mm-hmm. But like for me personally, I think I just needed to hit a really low. Yeah. To process things. There was a lot of things for me.
And if you're going through it, like at this moment in time while we're talking about it, you're probably like, wow, that's really insulting.
And I don't mean it that way. I'm so sorry if it does, because I'm saying this from experience of like, I was to a point where I never would have unalived myself, but I literally told my dad, I understand why people do. Because if I have to live the rest of my life this way, I don't want to be here. I won't do anything because of my kids, and also for God, he wants me here. I'm still here. So please, if you're feeling that way, please at least think of that. Like, you have family, and it would be so hard on them, and you would never ever be able to understand how it's going to affect the people around you. And that if God still has you here, you are here for a purpose. And it doesn't matter if you can't see it right now. If that's all that brings you through, you are here for a purpose. You're not here on accident.
Right.
So I just need to say that because I don't want to be dismissive of it.
I just like know going like
I might be it. I'm glad you said that because if I had heard that 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, I might have been like, F you.
Yeah.
You know what? F you. And it's okay. You can tell me to F me. That's okay. If that makes you feel better, you can absolutely say that.
Yeah.
Type it in the comments. I don't care. But like coming from my experience, I really do think that when you get at the end of it, you can look back, at least for me personally, where I was like, I would have never had certain revelations or understanding of things that had happened to me. And also how to prevent getting that low again. Because certain things were self-induced. Certain things were self-induced unintentionally. I guess it was all unintentional, but some of it was my fault and some of it was not. Maybe I'm trying to be very vague, but like situations I put myself in by being naive that like other people maybe harmed me in a way that like all of this built up to like this depression. And like I think it hits everyone differently, and like whatever. Oh, it's a fly. I thought it was a spider the way it was crawling on me, and I was like but I do think for me personally, when I came out of it, I'm not saying I want to be there or that it's a great spot to be, but I'm just saying if you're still here and that's the one thing you can cling to, is that God still has you here. He has you here for a reason, and I promise it does get better. But I'm also going to say something unpopular, because it can be a chemical imbalance, and but I also think it all intertwines on why it's a chemical imbalance too. Trauma, maybe you need to be medicated, diet, lifestyle, alcohol abuse, drug abuse, like things like that can also tie into the way your brain is functioning or lack thereof. Vitamin deficiencies, vitamin D/vitamin K oil drops that I put under my tongue every night, and the magnesium glycinate has helped tremendously because my brain couldn't function to even process the things I needed to process because it didn't have the nutrients it needed.
Yeah.
So that put me, I won't say it put me in the depression, but it was a lot of things like that all added in for me personally. And everyone is different. And I do think that there's just a different levels of depression. And I feel like I hit a really deep one, but that doesn't mean it's as deep as it can go.
Right.
So again, I'm not trying to be dismissive at all. But I do think when I came out of it, I learned a lot through it that I wouldn't have personally with it. But it also, at the same time, is our responsibility to get ourselves out of it, because we are the only ones who can get ourselves out of it. And I'm not saying like tough it out, because also sometimes you just need to rot. Sometimes you need to rot in your bed and you need to cry and you just need to sit in it, and that's actually okay too. Just stay here on earth, please.
Yes.
But go to your doctor, run blood work, take the vitamins, see if you need to be on medication to help you, see if diet and exercise would help at all. There's so many different ways of therapy, EMDR therapy specifically, but therapy, all of those things combined has helped me.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's my take on it. And I, again, do not mean it in a dismissive way. I also want to say, if you say, well, I don't have the money for that, I didn't have the money for that either. So I mean, I will say my parents did pay for my therapy for a little bit. However, on BetterHelp, they do have like a sliding scale of if you are like poverty level, and you make enough, or don't make enough, I should say, they can reduce the fees for you.
No, that's good. So
from it being like $75 a week, and it dropped it down to like $45 a week, and you can do therapy as you can, afford it, but also you want to think of it too, like if you're drinking a lot, what's $45 a week?
Yeah.
Cut back on the alcohol. Like there ultimately there is a way. Sometimes you need to sit in it, but ultimately there is a way, and there are things that can help you get out of it. And it's not your fault that you're there, but it is your responsibility to get you out of it if you want to better your life. And mine didn't just get better. I've had to dig myself out of this hole, and it was in multiple aspects. So I'm not saying you have to do it right now, but just know that there is light at the end of the tunnel. And even if it's just one little crawl, one little baby step, you're going to be that much farther. And if you just keep trying to take that baby step as you have the energy to do it, that depression will slowly melt away.
Yeah. Well, dang, this just became a whole mental health and physical health episode.
And a Bible study where we cuss.
Yeah. 10 times.
Is it clocking to you now?
I'm so going to keep that in.
Oh, I'm going to. Well, before. Oh, the cussing, probably not. You didn't need to hear it. It wasn't bad. She just read something wrong and then said, oh.
No. Shit.
Sorry, I made it worse than it was.
That's okay. Well, I guess,
Are we on? We're on. You're on.
I'm on? Okay. I just want to make sure I'm still on.
I'm on one,
every
that's
5
for
seconds.
Sure.
Blaze mine.
I don't really know where we went. It felt like, it's really funny when I get on these tangents, because I have a few bullet points and then my brain does this. And so I really hope it makes sense listening to it, because I don't remember what I just said.
Nope. I don't remember what happened either. But we went on a journey.
I think I black out.
Whatever. Words aren't happening, so we're just bubbling.
Speaking in tongues.
Not even close. That ain't even no kind of language. It's Boomhauer from King of the Hill.
I don't know. My brain cell was here for a second. Now it's back. I don't know who has it. Kuiper Belt? You have it?
I don't have it. We're going to get into rider fitness. So we run the mental health side of things, and now we're going to go to the physical health side of things.
And the spiritual health of things.
Yeah, we're hitting every point today.
We're clocking them.
Boom, boom, boom. So I guess starting off, just to preface with everybody.
That one scared me a little bit.
That one scared me too. We already did. In the last episode, we talked about getting your horse into shape and keeping them healthy.
That one was close.
Maintaining them, preventing injuries, overcoming injuries and everything. But we gotta think about ourselves a little bit, because when it comes to barrel racing, I mean, gosh, you don't even realize how much better you can feel while you're riding, how smoother things can feel if you are actively like exercising. And I don't just mean like cardio, I mean lifting weights. It's very important.
Yeah.
Building muscle in order to just be able to sit the damn horse.
Yeah. So playing into our last episode where we talked about how like certain activities with your horse will build muscles, and then when you feel them work with those muscles, you'll be like, oh my gosh, this is like a completely different horse. Like they will feel like 4-wheel drive around their turns, and maybe you thought you know what they felt like 4-wheel drive, and now you're like, oh, that wasn't 4-wheel drive, that was like 2-wheel drive, maybe 1-wheel drive. I was on a unicycle, and now I got
That's how I feel.
You were on a unicycle, but 4 separate unicycles, and I think 2 of them had square tires. Maybe one was a triangle.
That's exactly what it felt like.
Can we insert the video where you're trying to turn the barrel and her front end's going in her
No, we cannot show that to the public.
That's all I can think of, but it was accurate.
Oh my gosh, that's what it felt like.
So what was I talking about? What were you talking about?
You feel like
oh, okay. Wait, what? This is what's happening. The thought's coming and I'm like, yeah. No.
It's gone. Like that.
No, we were talking about sorry, I have to like retrace my strips. What the heck? This is rough. Stripper. Did you touch my drum set?
If I could quote that right now, I would, but my brain
I was hoping you would fill in. I was like, I don't know the rest.
I'm like,
I know you touched my drum set.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Okay,
Tell you
hold
what, I
on.
know what I'm watching.
Mental gymnastics. So, okay, I know where I was going. It all came back to me. I just needed to let my brain buffer a little bit. So, when you do get your horse that much stronger, where they're like, oh my gosh, I'm not on a unicycle.
Square tires.
And your horse is working, and you thought you could sit their turn, hold the hell on, because B, you can't.
You're going to get left behind in the alley.
The horses, and I know because I was there, my horse dropped and turned, and I almost yeeted off the side. And I wasn't doing anything wrong even with my riding. They were just so much stronger, and I, one, wasn't ready, but even when I tried to get ready for the next time, I wasn't strong enough to. You need full body strength. It's not just core, it's not just legs, it's not just arms. It's literally your whole entire body. You need strength. And you need to do the resistance training because that's what's going to build you strength, and that is what's going to keep you centered. And if you can keep centered, you and your horse are going to work like a well-oiled machine. When you're flopping around like a monkey on a football, or whatever they say.
Monkey humping a football.
Monkey humping a football, which is, why are we saying this? That's so it's aggressive.
Kind of accurate though sometimes.
Yeah, I like to say whiplash the monkey because it just seems a little less, humpy to me.
Less disgusting.
Disgusting. So, yeah, you're going to. I don't care if you think you don't have to. I mean, you can do what we said and see how it goes, but I'm just saying there's a small, high chance that you end up not on your horse anymore.
You eating dirt.
And I don't like not being on my horse when we go real fast. I like staying on them if I had planned to stay on them until I plan a dismount personally. But if you like to fly through the air and just hope you don't die, then maybe give it a go and see. Also send me your video.
We're gonna make memes out of them.
We'll just do a bunch of collage of wrecks.
Yep.
They're not really bad ones, please. I don't want to see you die.
Well, if they were dead, they wouldn't send them in.
Well, it's maybe somebody else's, though.
Oh.
Which would be...
So what were you ever talking shit?
I don't know, but God might be mad at me.
You keep moving my Zen around.
It reminds me of Eli. The Lord loves me. I hope he's listening to this. I'm leaving that in.
I'm leaving that in. But yeah, so I guess when it comes to getting into doing the resistance training, most important part is it starts in the kitchen. Whether you're building muscle, I'm sorry for the accents. I'm so tired. The random accents are gonna come out. It starts in the kitchen. Whether you want to build a muscle or you want to lose weight, I guess you need to decide what's more important
also,
for you.
Also, energy level too. That's something that I've learned is my macros can be on point, through like I use the LifeSum app, which I know is not the best one. It's just the one I'm used to, and I don't feel like changing it. I'm a little stuck in my ways with that one. Eventually, I'll probably change, but it can fit my macros, and I feel like dog shiz.
Yeah, and that's when you have to adjust. Okay, so like if you have
what
like
makes me feel good and what doesn't,
higher fats
fits.
or higher carbs.
Well, even if
you can play with those,
and it could be even that like I don't need to adjust that sometimes, but what I had to fill those numbers in wasn't what my body needed. Like my body, at least right now, needs more like leafy greens. I feel
more
like
micronutrients.
I need yes, my body specifically, but everyone's is different. And so like if I'm trying to lose weight, I know for me, in order to like not be so dog tired that I can't function and like that level of exhaustion, I have to be really particular. And I learned it the hard way. So I'm not trying to like be mean when I say this or judgmental, but anyway, I'm still dialing that in, as you can see. Otherwise, I would probably be 25 pounds lighter.
It's fine.
But I still do feel better by like trying to lose weight. I actually gained like 10 pounds, I think a little more than 10 pounds, but I have a lot. I am down a little bit on sizing of things, like a little bit better, like a smidgen. However, I feel so much better just having muscle, and I know I gained a ton of muscle. I think I gained a ton of muscle and I didn't really lose fat is what it was, or maybe I did lose a little bit of fat, but I don't know. I know that I feel better. I know that I ride way better. And I know that if I was competing right now, even though I'm not at the weight that I want and I'm not as lean as I want, I know that I actually would compete better than I did when I was at my best previously, because I have so much more strength and body control and muscle and like all the things. Working out just like helps with everything.
And that's why I want to say, hit the free weights. Don't be afraid to go past like your basic machines. And Planet Fitness, that's basically all you really have.
They do have free weights there. The one
the dumbbells only go up so high, which unless you're a gym bro, like when are realistically using dumbbells super heavy. But and I know like they have Smith machines, but like not a lot. I think I've seen like pictures and stuff on Facebook that they might be getting more into free weights and stuff and doing like, actual like half racks and squat racks and stuff.
There was a ton of squat racks when I was there.
Like not a Smith machine.
What's a Smith machine?
Smith machine is like, it looks like a squat rack, but the bar is attached.
Okay, I think that they had Smith machines, but I want to say they had one that wasn't attached.
Okay.
And then they had like benches too for bench pressing. I'm pretty sure.
That was really hard to say.
Mom, come pick me up. It's good. I was gonna joke with you. You're the official muscle mommy. I'm a machine mother. Because it's really easy, and I don't think that they're bad. I think actually for me, it did two things. It started building those muscles when they were so weak because it isolated them. It helped me with form when I started transitioning into free weights, which I still do machines, but I'm actually kind of transitioning, I guess.
And don't get me wrong, I still use machines. I do like the abductors and the adductors, and my stomach is growling really loudly right now.
Shh, needs queso.
I have leftover tacos in the fridge.
Oh yeah, because you went yesterday.
I intentionally ordered more than I was going to eat.
Oh, I do that when I go too, though.
Good luck. Delicious.
Delicious.
But yes. So
that's how I woke Peyton up this morning, and I'm not even kidding. I was like, "Good morning," and then I was like, "Hey, what did I say?
Oh, pointers!
Oh, pointers!
Where are you?
Where are you?"
But yeah, so I still use machines. I use cables.
Cables are so underrated, bro.
Oh yeah.
I did your exercise plan that you had sent me, and we did like the overhead cable, like from behind.
I don't know, the tricep extension.
Yeah. Yep. Kayla and I were dead, and there was like barely any. I want to say maybe 5 pounds. Like we were like, we could probably do this with no weight and still be dying, but we felt our egos were too high to not have some type of weight on there. We were just struggling because we had no muscle there to like do it. Cables will wreck you.
They're very nice. They're very good to have. Oh, yeah. So you want to be able to focus on doing compound lifts and accessories. So your compound lifts are essentially, let me define what a compound lift is. It's the 3 are squat, bench press, and deadlift. You don't have to do all of them. I don't deadlift because I had hernia surgery and I'm kind of scared. So I haven't really done deadlifting other than like Romanian deadlifts, which those are different. But what it means basically is you have more than one joint that's actively like hinging. So a squat, you have your knee and your hip.
More than one movement.
Yep.
Yeah.
And a deadlift, it's your knees, your hips, your back. Your bench press is your shoulders and your elbows.
Mm-hmm.
So that's essentially what that means. And then your accessories are more isolating. So if I were to use like the leg extension for quads, it's literally just my knee that's moving. So it's just all on your quads. It's really good to incorporate both, I think. Especially like if you don't have a lot of time, just going in and doing like your compound and then like a
Because you're
couple
hitting
of,
more than one. You're hitting so many different muscle.
Exactly. And it's going to make more of a difference than you realize. Like you could go 2 days a week and you don't realize like how much of a difference. Go lope on your horse after going to the gym for a couple weeks and tell me how much better it feels. Like so much. I really had that last summer. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so good to be going back
you eat
to the
properly
gym.
too.
Yes.
Otherwise, you're probably just going to feel like dog trash.
Yeah, and you don't even have to necessarily track all your macros. You can start off with literally just tracking your protein and then keeping everything else the same if you want.
And also, I'm going to comment this too because I feel like, well, I guess maybe people don't know this, but I have an eating disorder.
You do?
My therapist, I guess I'm not officially diagnosed, but she's like, yeah, you have a binge eating disorder.
Oh my.
And when I was tracking for a while, I think it made things worse for me because I almost became, and I think that's like the ADHD, like how thoughts could be like almost OCD, but it's also an ADHD thing of like an obsessive thought. And it became like it was controlling me, even though I was trying to do it in a right way. And so like, and I'm okay now. Like a lot of it was also like influenced on like stuff I hadn't processed either. But like I don't remember the last time I had like a binge eating thing. And I told her, I was like, I don't binge eat. I just like, I know I'm eating more than I should, but I'm not binging. Because in my head, to binge, you would have to feel sick afterwards and or puke. And apparently that's not the case.
No, that's bulimia is puking.
Yeah.
Well,
if you're puking,
bulimia is intentionally purging.
But also I thought even if you just felt sick, like not puking, but just felt sick, like that was binging. I was like, well, I don't necessarily feel sick. I just feel like more full than I should. Like I know I eat too much. And she's like, it's still a binge eating disorder, Jesse. And I'm like, oh, okay.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, so that I have struggled with tracking because this is a little embarrassing to talk about because I'm still kind of in the thick of it. I don't remember the last time I binged, but also again, mine was triggered by a lot of stuff I hadn't dealt with too. And it was like stress, or stress, whatever. And anyway, when I'm tracking like that, it would make those thoughts even more obsessive. So I would find myself, that's why I was like, tracking doesn't work for me in that way. I do still have it on my phone, but I'm not so strict on it. But I think finding the balance, if you're like me, of like, I just know I need to eat. I think like right now what's really helping my mindset is I know my protein should be here. I also know that I function better around this much fats and around this much whatever, and I'm kind of learning what foods have that and what don't. And like if I'm craving something, I'm learning my body and what it feels like if I need more carbs or fats, I guess, or protein. But I'm not being obsessive about or like strict about tracking because it makes my like thoughts obsessive about food.
It's gonna be different for everybody.
Yes, but I'm just saying for like me personally, if you're like me, that's possible that it's like a trigger, but just like it's a tool. And I guess you kind of have to figure out what works for you and how you use it. And it gives you like a baseline. And I think that's great. So for me personally, where I'm at right now, and everyone is different. And I still think you should like track and just kind of see how you react to it mentally, physically, all the things. And it, like I said, still gives me a baseline. But I've just learned I can't be like super strict about it because it's not good for like what I'm trying to work through, I guess, right now. So me, I'm focusing on like the quality of, and maybe this sounds like, yeah, duh, eat better food, but like quality of foods and what I know my body feels better in. Feels better when I eat, I guess. And again, it sounds so like oblivious, but I actually learned that like I love my protein cottage cheese things, like the low fat, love them. But if I eat them every day as like one of the first things in my day, I'm breaking out more and I'm more bloated. But I also learned that like dairy can trigger PCOS. And it runs on both sides of my family. And I'm having like a lot of those symptoms. So I kind of just like, I haven't restocked when I ran out of them. And I do feel better in certain aspects as far as like bloating and functioning and things. And I still do have dairy, but it's just not, I'm not having one of those to start my day every day.
Daily, yeah.
And so I'll probably still have them in the house as like a snack every once in a while, like maybe every other day or like every like couple days or something, like a couple times a week, because I think that they're awesome to like be able to fit in, you know, it's like 120 or 150 calories and I get 17 grams of protein and I feel satiated afterwards.
Yeah.
But I have other personal things that it's obviously affecting. So like someone else could have that and it's perfect. But like for me, and it's not a bad food, which also I get that there's not good foods and bad foods, but more processed foods do typically not, like, it's not going to give you the same results. But just learning personally on like what you feel best in, I think is just like great, because they all could be great foods that even aren't processed or whatever, but like just figuring out what foods your body reacts to and kind of sticking with those and trying to make those fit into your macros, making your micros fit into your macros, and also on how your body's feeling, I guess.
And also eating fiber.
Oh yes,
like 25 grams
fiber. And for me, I'm gluten intolerant. I'm not celiac. I'm not quite that bad. My mom's celiac, but pasta is such an easy thing, and it's hard when you're gluten free. So I could do like there's like a rice pasta, but that I don't know if this is a thing, but for me, if I eat a lot of rice personally, I just feel like it like backs me up. TMI, but like whatever. Yeah. But I started doing what? Sounds like I'm doing drugs. Maybe I am and I don't know.
No, I think you would know.
I probably would function better. Anyways, when I eat chickpea noodles, they have so much fiber and I feel so good when I eat them. And I can have spaghetti. I can have spaghetti. I made that pickle pasta salad, which is higher in fat, but ooh, my mouth's watering. I need to make that soon. I haven't had it for a few months. I ate the shiz out of that for a while, but it's good and I can just have it cold. So it's something that like, I like to make things that either warm up really easy or I don't need to warm up. Yeah. Also, I know I'm going on a tangent, but this has all helped me. If you do make pasta, it doesn't matter if it's gluten-free, chickpea, whatever. I've learned, and this might be common sense, but I'm just dumb, okay? So, and I'm teaching you as I'm learning. I will prep like my sauce, because usually I'll use like, was it Rouse or Ray? It's Rouse sauce or Rose, W-A-O or W-O-A. It's one of like the least like bad for you sauces, where it has less filler and junk in it. It's more natural. Like it's just kind of like there's less like preservatives and like icky stuff in it and like filler crap.
I don't know.
It just it tastes probably as close as a homemade sauce as you're gonna get. I will kind of add my own little spices to those, so I'll like make my sauce. If you want to be really cool, you can make it from scratch. I'm just not that cool. Make my sauce, make my noodles, and like right now in my fridge I have noodles, sauce in different containers, and I also have some shrimpies that I cooked up. And then I warm them up in one thing, but that way your sauce isn't sitting with your pasta getting it super soggy and gross, because that can happen, especially if you have a gluten-free noodle or a chickpea noodle. They break down faster. And they can get mushy, which is why a lot of people don't like them. So if you kind of keep them separate, probably because there's not that like gluten to like hold them together that way. But I also have had regular noodles do it to me too, because it just like sitting in that sauce, it just breaks down eventually. But it's also really cool because like I could go home and just, if I don't want noodles, I can just grab my shrimp, and I have some green beans I can steam up and just like do a garlic butter green bean and some shrimp if I want. I also have this 90
meal prep is very helpful.
Oh my god,
it's a pain in the butt.
So helpful, and it's hard to figure out what fits in, but once you start figuring out what fits in, and also things you like, because I won't stick to it if I don't like what I'm eating. Right. And it's a process, and it's kind of a painful process, and I low-key hate it, but...
Same. I hate doing it, but I love having it prepped.
Yeah, and I like feeling good, and I like being able to function better, especially when I'm pushing myself in the gym. So...
Yep. Yeah, so I guess getting off of the food side, I It's just build a program that works for you. But ultimately, like I said, like if you can start with compounds and then go from there, there's actually a website. I'll probably just link it in the show notes where it has like examples of exercises and whatnot. It has like little animations or whatever. Um, it's a good place to start if you know what muscle groups that you want to work on, especially legs, like for riding. Granted, I don't. There's nothing wrong with working your upper body. I know that there's some women that don't want to because they feel like it's going to make them bulky.
Mm-hmm.
It really doesn't. I mean, it's going to take you years to get to a point where you're going to look anything like.
Yeah, unless you already have a bunch of muscle.
Right.
I also think this is because I'd have to go to a doctor to officially diagnose me, but I have all of the markers of having like PCOS, and I guess your testosterone can be higher. I do have previous muscle though on my shoulders and back and stuff because I used to work them, and when I started doing them more, but also mind you, when I went into lifting, I wasn't lifting once or twice a week. I was lifting like 3 to 4, maybe 5 times a week every time I went in the gym because I preferred it over cardio. And I would do a little bit of like cardio, but not that much. And my shoulders and my arms and back, in my opinion, got bigger than what I want them to. But it was also on top of not being able to cut my fat because my macros weren't dialed in.
And a lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah, and like I can feel my muscle, like I have a lot there, but there's like I need to dial in my macros. So it's all person dependent, but yeah, it also didn't happen with me overnight. I just realized it later on. And I'm not like huge by any means at all that way, but like the fear that people have, it is very common misconception.
Yeah, it takes a long time to build muscle.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just you're not gonna freaking have like old biceps the size of your head overnight. It's just not.
No, it doesn't. No.
All right, so we unfortunately had a little bit of a casualty at the middle end of this podcast with our audio. Our transmitter died, so once that died, you couldn't hear us at all on the mics. So I'm gonna finish off this episode by myself in order to kind of finish off everything that I wanted to add in. I'm pretty big into lifting and nutrition and everything, albeit not always consistently. So as I'm talking about these things, I just want to throw in a little PSA that I'm not perfect, and although I'm really passionate about it, it might sound like I'm a bit preachy. I'm not perfect. So, anyways, I also wanted to add in here while Jay was on a bit of a kick with like the nutrition stuff. Um, you have to be aware of what your goals are before you make decisions on like how you're going to set up your macros and like, you know, um, whether you need to eat super clean or if you're really just paying attention to numbers or, there's a lot of different things that go into it. If you are thinking that you need to lose weight in order to be faster in the arena, in order to feel more secure, you're going to have to set your goals with that in mind. Obviously, keeping protein high, but keeping an eye on your carbs and fats in order to um, not have to spend your entire day doing cardio and walking. So it's calories in, calories out. Whether you have only like, I don't know, like 5, 10 pounds to lose, or you have like a bigger goal, you're gonna have to adjust for that. And there's other resources out there for that. There's a Facebook group from Macros Inc. They have a calculator online for calculating your macros and your calories, and they have this calculator, and then they have the Facebook group where you can actually do macro checks, and these coaches, these are certified people in nutrition and whatnot, and health and fitness, and they will adjust your macros as needed. You go in and you make a post in the group and you say macro check please, and you let them know if you have any health issues, what your goals are, and all that. So I don't want to leave you guys like hanging if you're like, well, how do I determine what my macros should be? So they'll help you with that if you don't want to hire a coach. I do recommend hiring a coach if you are just like absolutely, "Phew, I have no idea." So if anybody needs any coaching, I do know a couple of people who do coaching, so I can point you in that direction if that's what you want to do. It's like typically like they have online clients, so you don't have to meet with them in person. It helps a lot with the nutrition aspect. When it comes to lifting, um, like I said, I have that website that I'll link in the show notes. But when it comes to form checking, like if you don't have a coach to help you in person, I recommend you video yourself in the gym. Um, and it might be a bit intimidating at first, but if you're at a good gym where there's supportive trainers and supportive members, you should be able to do that without an issue, be able to just set up your phone to video your form. So I recommend going over that. Yeah, so like I was saying, you really need to sit and evaluate your goals in order to kind of determine where you're at, what you need to do. If you feel like you do need to lose weight, I highly recommend doing that first before going through like a building phase. Um, you're just going to feel a lot better. Um, and instead of gaining excess weight, because when you're in a surplus to build muscle, a lot of times you are going to gain fat unless you are in a super slow, lean building phase where you're doing it for a period of like over a year to 2 years. That goes more into like the bodybuilding thing. Personally, if I'm trying to build muscle, I'm not worried about any excess weight gain because I am naturally on the thinner side genetically. Everybody's genetics are different. So you got to sit and determine what's best for you. Yeah, so if you want to build muscle, if you just want to gain strength in the saddle, um, and you aren't worried about any weight gain, it's a good spot to start is a building phase and getting into weightlifting. So leaving the nutrition aspects behind. One of the most important things for building muscle is progressive overload. And there's different ways to do that. If you're confused about what I mean when I say progressive overload, it's essentially applying a new stimulus to your muscles in order for them to grow. So you can sit and you can lift the same 10-pound weights or however many pound weights, and it might be a struggle to begin with, but eventually your muscles are going to adapt. And it's not going to be a stimulus to them anymore. So we can progressively overload by upping weight, by upping reps in your sets, or upping how many sets you do. Um, I recommend adding reps and upping weight before you go like adding more volume, and more volume would be more sets, more exercises, etc. So there's a lot of different ways to do that. You can also slowly control the weight on the eccentric, which, for example, like in a squat, the eccentric would be while you're squatting down. You can do pause squats or bench press. You can do pauses, things like that. That's another form of progressive overload that is kind of it's more on the advanced side. So if you're just getting into it, you really only have to worry about upping weight and upping um, repetitions. So yeah, it's very, very important. You're not going to get very far if you are going into the gym twice a week and not pushing yourself. So if you don't have a lot of time, I recommend going as hard as you can, essentially, without hurting yourself, and without like technically like ego lifting is what they call it. By simply just going in there and lifting as heavy as you can and potentially hurting yourself. You have to obviously gauge where you're at and where you want to be and do it safely. But I know a lot of us don't have a whole lot of time when it comes to taking care of horses, when it comes to riding, all the things. So, and if anybody has any questions, I'm not a coach, but like I said, I know some. And I also can point you in the direction of other information that is good and science-based and not the fake, like Instagram fitness influencer type information. So it's also important to not fall into that trap because there is a lot of false information on the internet when it comes to health and fitness. There's a lot of false things about nutrition. So I don't want you to go into this like taking everything that you hear for fact if you decide to get into it, because there's a lot of misinformation. Along with a lot of this misinformation is actually a lot of not so great coaches. Just because somebody says that they're a coach doesn't mean that they necessarily know what they're doing. And I guess I can't say much because I'm not a coach, but I've seen a lot of not great coaches and a lot of not great protocols. So just want to throw that out there. But yeah, so if you are at a point where you feel like you want to get into weightlifting to better your riding, I highly recommend time blocking and pre-scheduling when you're going to go to the gym. It makes it a lot easier when you wake up, say you go want to go to the gym before you go to work or before you work horses. It's a lot easier to adhere to if you are pre-planning it. If you're like me, if you need to put like pencil to paper in a planner and schedule out the rest of your day alongside that in order to make time for it. A lot of people assume they don't have time or can't make time. You would be surprised if you kind of adjust some things around and you give it your all, how much you can actually fit in. And this is coming from somebody who really struggles because I work full time, 40, sometimes 50 hours a week on second shift. And I'm not gonna lie, it's been getting really difficult lately, but I have done it before. I have gone through huge building phases on second shift. I've been on second shift for the last, oh, 4, 5, probably like 6 years. Like I've been on second shift for a long time. I've worked on second shift. Um, it can look different for everybody. I'm not saying you have to go into this and know everything that you're doing. Trust me, I did not know what I was doing when I first started lifting. I had no clue. And I personally had a nutrition coach for 6 months, I believe. So now I kind of know what works for my body, what I need in order to actually reach the goals that I have. And I also know that I kind of kick my own self in the ass by not being consistent and not adhering to it. So that's the biggest thing. If you think, oh, I'm not seeing results, I'm not seeing results, I'm not seeing results, you need to go back, you need to look over the span of like weeks. What is going on in my nutrition? What is going on when it comes to the gym? Am I making it to the gym? Do I make it to the gym, but I don't have time to really actually do many lifts, so I might go do a couple accessories. Um, you need to adhere, and in that case, what I mentioned was like going and doing a couple accessories. If you don't have that much time in the gym, go do a compound lift. Go do barbell back squats or deadlifts, something that activates more than one muscle group at a time. Very important. So yeah, um, adherence, nutrition, different lifts, kind of gone over pretty much everything, I think. So in summary, we need to worry about nutrition first. Then you need to consider what lifts you're doing, um, create a plan that you can stick to and that fits your goals. So you don't need to go just pick up on some random fitness influencers workout split who does social media for a living and who lifts weights for a living practically, or somebody who works a part-time job and has all the time in the world to do it. Like, we are not overloading on volume. We are not spending 3 hours in the gym. That's simply just not feasible for probably most of us in this industry. So just really focus on what works for you. You can use the website that I linked in the show notes in order to build a plan that works for you. Yeah, so that is about it for this week's episode. If it feels like I was all over the place, we recorded this quite a while ago. This was a few weeks ago that we recorded this episode, so I'm a bit behind on adding my 2 cents at the end here in order to finish it off. But I feel like overall there's some good information, and if anybody has any questions or they're looking for some guidance, I am happy to help. And I can also link like my Facebook um, in the show notes if anybody doesn't have me added and you want to message me or whatever. I get message requests. So, yeah, on that note, you guys have a great rest of your week and hopefully an awesome weekend.